The world of Thraxis. 9 was a kaleidoscope of jagged mountains, luminescent forests, and rivers that ran not with water, but with a viscous, glowing sap. From orbit it looked beautiful, alive, almost welcoming. But up close, it was unforgiving, a planet where survival was measured in hours and compassion was a currency rarer than gold. Lysera stumbled through the crystal groves, one arm wrapped around her chest to hold her fractured rib, the other dragging along the ground as she struggled to stay upright. Her body, already delicate for her species, the Lysari, was broken, shattered by the collapse of the shuttle that had brought her from a refugee convoy orbiting a dying star. The rest of her crew had been consumed by fire, consumed by debris, or simply disappeared into the alien jungle. Her skin, usually a soft, iridescent lavender, was scratched and streaked with sap, her once sleek hair matted and torn. She had no weapons, no shelter, and no one to help her. Thraxis. 9 was a hunting ground for scavengers, predators that knew how to exploit weakness. Lysera's kind, small, fragile, artistic, were considered easy prey. She tried to call for help, but her voice cracked, nearly lost to the thick, humid air. Each attempt left her more exhausted. Hours stretched into a haze of pain and fear. She had no idea if anyone would find her. No one ever did. Above, hidden in low orbit, a human ship drifted silently. Its sensors had detected an anomalous life signal, a small, wounded creature in the hostile environment of Thraxis. Commander Aiden Voss had been scanning the sector for weeks. He was part of a relief fleet, tasked with delivering supplies to isolated colonies and monitoring dangerous zones. But he hadn't expected to find life here, and certainly not this fragile. Aiden's hands moved quickly across the console. He adjusted the atmospheric entry vectors, activating the shuttle pods. "Hang on, kid," he muttered, though she couldn't hear him. "You're not alone anymore." By the time he landed, the sun was dipping behind jagged peaks, casting Thraxis in a surreal purple shadow. Lysera was barely conscious, slumped against a crystalline tree that hummed faintly with alien energy. Her eyes fluttered, dim with pain, as the shadow of the human figure approached. "Lysera?" Aiden asked, kneeling beside her. "Can you hear me?" She could only moan weakly. "Don't move," he said, lifting her carefully. Despite her size, he felt the weight of her broken body, noting the fractures, the shallow breathing, the heat of fever. "I've got you. You're going to be okay." It wasn't an offer of charity. It was a promise. In the shuttle, the medical bay was rudimentary but better than anything she had seen in days. Aiden carefully administered a sedative, cleaned her wounds, set splints along her ribs and legs. Lysera shivered, both from pain and disbelief. She had not expected help. No one ever helped. Not humans, not aliens, not anyone. "You're not going to be sold or left behind or used," Aiden said softly. "Not on my watch." The words sounded almost foreign to her. Lysari culture was steeped in survival and hierarchy, and kindness was rarely free. She wanted to cry, but her body refused the effort. Days passed aboard the shuttle as Lysera's body healed, each day bringing more strength, more hope. Aiden taught her to move again, helped her speak, encouraged her to eat and drink. He did not rush her. He did not patronize her. "You're stronger than you think," he said one morning as she struggled to stand without leaning on the rail. "Pain doesn't define you. Survival does. And you've survived worse than anyone could imagine." Lysera's eyes brimmed with tears. Again a new sensation, almost alien to her. Why help me?" she asked, voice trembling. Aiden paused. "Because someone had to. Because no one else would." She looked down at her hands, scarred and trembling. For a moment, She thought about all the times she had been ignored, abandoned, or worse. And yet, here was a human, defying every expectation, defying the cruel rules of the universe, saving her. As she recovered, she began to notice more about the world outside her immediate pain. The Lissari weren't the only species suffering quietly, abandoned in forgotten corners of space, left to die because their value was measured in currency, power, or usefulness. And yet humans, at least some humans, acted differently. They didn't see value in size, strength, or utility. They saw life. It wasn't easy. Lysira's trust had been shattered over years, and the shadows of trauma lingered. She flinched at touch, hesitated to speak, and shied from effort. Aiden was patient. He never pushed, never demanded gratitude. One night, during a storm over the planet's surface as they surveyed potential colonies, Lysira finally spoke. "You could have left," she whispered, sitting in the small cabin of the shuttle. "You didn't have to come back for me." "I didn't leave," Aiden said. "I never will. You don't have to earn that." The words felt strange, almost revolutionary. Lysira had never known unconditional commitment. She had only known survival, only known pain, only known fear. Weeks later, when she was strong enough to walk on her own, they visited a remote Lissari enclave. Hidden in the floating crystal forests, unreachable to most traders and warships. Lysira's people had survived the wars that had ravaged their homeworld, hiding in secret valleys. And yet, many were broken, abandoned by commerce and conquest. Together, Lysira and Aiden began helping them. Using human technology, they distributed medical aid, supplies, and protection. Lysira taught others to survive, to use what the galaxy considered useless, to rebuild. Aiden provided shields, transport, and sometimes muscle, though Lysira often reminded him, laughing softly, that he was better at building hope than fighting. Word spread. Across sectors, stories circulated of the broken Lissari girl who had been saved by a human who did the impossible. Humans were no longer just outsiders. They were allies, sometimes saviors. And Lysira herself became a symbol, a reminder that even in the darkest corners of the galaxy, hope could exist if one person refused to turn away. Years passed. Lysira had grown not just in body but in spirit. She moved with confidence, her bioluminescence brightened by health and pride, no longer hiding or flinching. And Aiden remained at her side, not as a protector, but as a partner in rebuilding, in healing, in demonstrating what humanity could mean in a galaxy that had long forgotten mercy. One evening, standing on a cliff overlooking a valley of crystal forests illuminated by the twin moons, Lysira turned to Aiden. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked softly. "Regret what?" "Saving me. Leaving your life, your plans, to do this." Aiden smiled faintly, eyes reflecting the moonlight. "I don't regret it. You taught me more than I taught you. You reminded me why it matters." Lysira's lips curved in a small, genuine smile, the first in a long time that had no fear attached. "Then we keep going," she said. "We save the ones no one else would." He nodded. "Exactly. Because sometimes, the impossible isn't impossible at all. It just needs someone willing to try." And so they did. Together, Lysira and Aiden traveled across sectors, across systems, touching lives abandoned by greed and indifference. The galaxy had tried to break her, had tried to convince her that she was nothing, that her life was expendable. But one human had changed that. One human had refused to turn away. And in that refusal, a broken alien girl found not only her life, but her purpose. And the galaxy would never forget that lesson.